I'm here today to tell you about how I became a mom because it was a very different path than what I had expected. I was pregnant with my son Max a little over 7 years ago, and at 26 weeks, things started to change. I had had a very healthy, wonderful pregnancy and had really enjoyed it. But at 26 weeks, I went to a routine doctor's visit to get an ultrasound to check on the baby, and it became very clear that things had changed. I was in active labor. My cervix was dilating, and I needed to go on bed rest right away. Bed rest was a really scary time for me. As much as it sounds like I should just be kicking my feet up and relaxing, I spent a lot of time worrying about what was happening to my body and what was going to happen to my baby. I only had 25 minutes a day where I could get up from the couch or the bed where I spent all of my time. And during those 25 minutes, I just basically could go to the bathroom and shower if I was lucky. I was extremely, extremely worried. I was later admitted to the hospital to do the rest of my bed rest. And at 32 weeks, which is 2 months too soon, I went into full labor and had an emergency C-section. And my son, Max, was born. He was only 3 pounds and 2 ounces. But he did cry when he was born, and he was admitted to the NICU, the Newborn Intensive Care Unit. It was a really, really difficult experience for my husband and I. Everything we had thought that motherhood and parenthood would be changed in those moments. He was so small, and we were really worried about his health. We felt so alone. In those early days, we were the first of most of our friends to become pregnant and to have a child, and we didn't know very many people who had had babies prematurely, and we really sort of didn't know who to turn to or what to do, who to ask questions. It was a very isolating experience. And we didn't get to hold him right away. We didn't get to have so many of those milestones that we had really anticipated we would get to share with our son when he was born. Each day we had to take turns at the hospital deciding which one of us was going to do skin to skin to him with his when you hold a baby to your chest. That time together was really special and really beautiful because it was a chance for us to really feel close to him and to care for him. But we didn't get to do it very often. Max was in the hospital for a little over a month, and those days were some of the hardest days I've ever experienced in my life. We received incredible, incredible care, which really ultimately changed my life forever. But we also felt like we really could have used more support and community during that time. We had certainly had a lot of PTSD from our experience. In fact, my husband used to wake up in the middle of the night holding a pillow while Max was still on the NICU. And he would hold the pillow and he would be rocking the pillow and shushing it, thinking it was the baby. And as it turns out, it was just a pillow. But we had a TV in our room that looked like one of the monitors that made noises when something went wrong. And he was just sort of coping with his stress that way. Once Max was finally home and healthy, after over a month, we realized that we were different people than we had been when we entered the NICU. We had no idea how dramatically our life would change and the shift in perspective that we would experience. I call the NICU the best worst place and the worst best place because the incredible caretaking that happens there is unbelievable, and the staff that work there are unimaginably skilled, and they care for your baby. You have to leave a piece of your heart in the hospital every time you leave because you can't stay. And that was a really heartbreaking experience for us. And because of that experience, I realized that I wanted to help other people who were like me. I didn't want other moms and dads and NICU families and parents to feel alone the way that I did. I didn't want them to sit at the bedside wondering when it would end and thinking about what motherhood was supposed to look like and what this looked like. Because going to the NICU and delivering a baby who has to be hospitalized is one way to become a mother. It's not one that we talk about very much, but it's one way that people become parents. And it was the only way that I knew. and I wanted to normalize the experience. So I took a lot of pictures of Max with his tubes and wires, and I quickly realized as time passed that I wanted to go back to the NICU, and I started working there, and I started advocating for NICU families. I was fortunate enough to leave my career in advertising and become a parent advocate on the newborn intensive care unit where Max had been. And now I work with families every day to help them feel a little bit of normalcy in their experiences, to celebrate all those little milestones that they have, and to let them know that they're not alone, and that being scared is totally normal, and that when you see people who have healthy term babies, it's okay to feel sad about that, and to let them know that we're doing everything we can to include parents in NICU care and to be a voice and a support for them, because during that time I really needed somebody to hold my hand, literally and virtually. And while the staff was incredibly supportive, I wanted to know that other people had gone through something similar. And so these days I work on a NICU, and it's the silver lining of the whole thing. I'm so lucky that Max is healthy and happy and thriving thanks to the care that he received there. And I meet amazing, amazing families with stories of strength every single day. And I have another son who's healthy and well. And I work as hard as I can to make the voice of parents heard on the NICU so that they don't have to feel so alone, and they can celebrate all those incredible moments together and know that the NICU is a really, really special place to me and my family. Thanks for listening.